Good evening, this is the Oscar Expert here, and we're doing more
I'm here too.
Good evening, this is the Oscar Expert here with Brother Bro, and we're doing above-the-line predictions. We did Best Picture, but we're doing the rest of them now. Director, Screenplay, Acting categories. Let's start with Best Director. I am secure. I don't feel good, but I feel as good as I could. I have Sean Baker, Brady Corbett, no question.
Brady Corbett at number one.
Brady Corbett number one, you're right.
I
moved him.
I think it's gonna be
I know. I was saying Sean Baker for a little bit, but you know what? As we learned in the year of the Daniels in the past decade, if you are looking like you're going to win Critics' Choice, you're kind of the Oscar frontrunner. Well, essentially, if you're the critics sweeper, you are probably going to win Critics' Choice, and then you're going to win the Oscar. That's happened a lot in the last decade, hasn't it?
I agree.
Mean, maybe Baker
I think if they were
splitting
more, I would...
They've split a little bit.
I think there's like a chance, but I do think it's looking in Corbet's favor.
Next in line, Jack Audiard is, my opinion, just going to happen.
Yep.
It doesn't seem very negotiable. As much as I don't need Emilia Perez to have a presence at the Oscars, I don't need it to be in this directing category. I don't know how this couldn't happen. This movie is going to get the most nominations, most likely, on Oscar nomination morning.
Yep.
It didn't miss a Critics' Choice for director. It didn't miss a Golden Globe for director. It hasn't been strong at critics' circles, but the film overall seems to have this strength. Also, just premiering at Cannes and then going on to get a Best Picture nomination seems to correlate with a directing nomination 9 times out of 10.
Oh, 10 times out of 10. Buddy.
Okay. Well, it'll be 9 eventually, but
The movie's premiering in competition at Cannes, and it's not going to get director, even though the movie's getting 10
also,
nominations.
It's Jack Audiard.
Let's
this
be
is
real.
the kind of international pick that the Oscars love to do. Even though I don't think this is his very best film, he is very established. He is an auteur, and this is enough.
It's the
a stylish
Oscar's favorite
film.
of his.
Yeah.
Also, usually directing snubs that are really big are in the form of a film where it's just not as heavily stylized. You cannot say this about Emilia Perez. Cannot say that. Like, Joker got into director, Adam McKay got in twice, especially Vice. That's a movie that wasn't that acclaimed and still got into director. Like
That does feel a lot like
those are really stylish films.
Yeah.
Love them or hate them, okay?
Yeah.
And
although
that's the
Baz
case.
didn't get in, but
Elvis was like a studio music.
That didn't
biopic,
need
I
it.
think.
It didn't need it.
Jacques Audiard is like a acclaimed international filmmaker who has won the Palme d'Or before. Like, it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it.
Okay, number 4, I have Ramel Ross.
That's right.
I almost feel like people are going to perceive this as an unreasonable amount of confidence in Nickel Boys, but I really don't think I'm off base here. I feel confident that this is the kind of thing the Oscars are going to do. And Nickel Boys has been performing exactly as well as it needs to up to this point.
Oh, probably better than some expected.
Probably
Did
better
you
than
think
some
it was going to
expected.
get AFI and Critics' Choice and Golden Globe?
I think it could look like it's doing worse, especially if it doesn't get PGA, which I think is possible. But I do think the Oscars are going to embrace it. And I don't know if there's a world where they can embrace this movie and not do it in director, because this is the director's brand shit. This is their shit. It stands out so much. It makes this huge statement about filmmaking and experimental editing and like a new approach to the medium. Like, this would be an insane snub. It would be an unconscionable snub.
This is the thing. People think like, oh, well, he can't like take out all these other people, and like I have Berger in, and I have like...
Happens every year.
No. This guy not getting in is the snub. If he doesn't get in, that's a huge, insane miss.
Is it going to happen at DGA? No, silly. But DGA is so different. At this point, the director's branch have distinguished themselves so heavily, so fundamentally from DGA. Look no further than last year, where they nominated Justine Triet and Jonathan Glazer, whereas DGA nominated Payne and Gerwig. Like, this is just so obvious how they're different at this point. And if I can't take The Zone of Interest as an example for why Nickel Boys is getting nominated for director this year, then I don't know what we're doing. Like, how else are we supposed to use precedent to justify what's going to happen in the future? Like, This is it.
The fact that they nominated Terrence Malick as well, that was the only major nomination that he got.
Down to Ben Zeitlin for Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Ben Zeitlin,
he didn't get any nominations either.
And Lenny Abrahamson are both filmmakers that didn't have, that respect behind them that maybe like Jonathan Glazer and Terrence Malick have with their storied careers. So even there, like there's two types of precedent that I think you can use here. I think more people need to understand that this is what they do.
This is what they do.
This is what
they do. This is who they are.
He's also,
they are Dobus PR.
He is in the top 5 for critics right now. He's number 4.
Yeah, he's doing extremely well with critics, and that's the reason. Like, he's just been getting the nominations he needed to get. I said it. I needed to see him win, like, New York or LA
and he
director.
did.
I'm not like stubbornly sticking to a story that's changing as it goes. Like, I'm not rewiring and like rebolting the plane as it's moving through the sky. Like that, this is what I thought was going to happen. It's happening.
The other thing that we thought was going to happen, that's going to happen, that everyone's going to go, "Oh, are you sure?" It's going to miss DGA, and he's not going to get BAFTA.
Yeah.
And it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
You know who might get DGA and BAFTA?
Burger.
Farjat. Farjat is not a lock for those, but
She's going to get fucking BAFTA.
But this is who
she's going to get BAFTA.
But this is my 5. I think the substance will be embraced big in the categories that it's been being embraced big in. All I have to do is look at how well it's been doing so far and just say like, okay, I think it's going to continue to get most of those nominations. And this is again the kind of film that the Oscars would go for. It's the kind of
what else?
achievement.
Is that a Cannes competition film?
Oh my god!
That we have in Best Picture,
and it's the 3rd Cannes premiere in competition. It's getting in Best Picture, and that also gives you reason to think, that has a prestige around it. Cannes picks auteur filmmakers to be at their festival, and she is absolutely one. She's really cemented herself as a unique and fascinating voice in the world of cinema. I think many people are as excited for her as they are for the film. I don't know if it gets DGA, I don't know if it gets BAFTA, but the fact that she got Globe, man, like,
buddy,
she got the Golden Globe.
Hey, first of all, if she missed DGA and BAFTA, I'm not doing it.
Really? Okay, yeah, you're right.
She's going to get at least
She's going to
one.
get something.
She's probably going to get at least one of those. I think probably BAFTA.
I think she's going to get BAFTA.
There's 6 slots. I think she's
especially
them
being international. I think that's going to be embraced at BAFTA.
DGA would be a little scary if she didn't get it, because I do think there's a chance. Like it's not that it's not a totally obscure movie. Like it's a movie people have seen. It made some money.
It would be weird for the substance to get nominated for Best Picture and not Best Director.
But DGA is so competitive because I feel like they must nominate Conclave and Chew. Like,
yeah, I know.
And so if you put those in, then that kind of makes the 5, and I might even predict that 5. Burger is somebody that's number 3 on Gold Derby, and almost everybody has him in except for us. What are we doing? So I think Burger is just not as much of like an auteur as the other people that we're predicting here, and the director's branch likes auteurs. Now,
Conclave is a very well-made movie. It has style, but it's not overwhelming in style like these other films that we've mentioned.
You know what is overwhelming in style, but simultaneously didn't seem to have like a singular vision to it, was his last film, All Quiet. Very competently made, won 3 Tech Awards, and yet he did not get nominated for director for that. Now, we could be looking at Conclave and say, well, you did it twice in a row.
I think he has a better shot
We
here.
accept you now. Hey, you predicted him for All Quiet. People really thought he was going to get nominated.
No, you're right, because he won the BAFTA. Huh.
It is possible that the Oscar now says, okay, like, now you've kind of proven yourself a little bit more, like, we're ready to accept you, right? Like, how McDonough, he did 3 billboards, they said no thanks, but then his next film that got in, like, they said yes.
Look, I think it's entirely possible he gets in. Like, I'm not trying to throw it out, and you're very well justified to do it, but if one of these people, if Farjat wasn't in the conversation, if Ross wasn't in the conversation, I would have him in. That's why he's number 6.
I know some people think that Conclave's going to win Best Picture and that he's going to come along as the winner.
I don't think so.
That's just a little far off from how I'm looking at it.
I'm feeling good about my 5, even though it's a very competitive lineup. And the reason I'm also feeling good about it is because Villeneuve seems to not be a good bet anymore. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. He missed Globe. That was a huge snub. Huge. And has he been doing well with critics groups?
He's not in the top 4, actually. I think he's number 5. And who's he behind? He's behind Farjat and Ross.
And Audiard is the one that critics groups are just not going for, but that's going to inevitably happen at the Oscars. So it's kind of an easy, just throw him up over there.
Yeah, because Villeneuve, he got everything except for BAFTA, Oscar last time. This time he doesn't even get Globe. Man, oh man. I don't think the BAFTA's going to go for him again. And then he's going to have, Critics' Choice and maybe DGA still. But like I said in the last video, I have a fear that this is going to be treated like the Two Towers relative to the first Lord of the Rings, or Avatar 2 and relative to the first Avatar film.
Yeah. I really think Villeneuve deserves director for this film. There's no question that this film deserves it, but there just seem to be other films that are more top of mind. It's not at the center of the zeitgeist right now.
Chew's not even a contender.
He
got Critics' Choice. He's going to get DGA. He's not getting BAFTA. He's staying far away from the Oscar. That's just how it's going to be.
They just wouldn't do it.
If you think he's getting the Oscar, I don't think that you're you're like clued into the director's branch and their specific taste.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not something that would happen.
Otherwise, I think Mohamed Rasulov is a contender for the seat of the Sacred Fig.
And Kapadia and Outside Shot
Kyle
as well.
Kapadia. I even think
them
they are
over,
contenders without their films getting into Best Picture, weirdly. But I just don't think that's a likely thing that you should bet on. I just think it's like a slim possibility that it could happen.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm not really willing to put anybody else on here.
I could have a good belly laugh about the idea of Ridley Scott in Best Director for that year too, but we can just
Let's do actress. I have Mikey Madison at number 1 still. I said in the last video, like, I just don't know who else is the challenger. She's winning a lot of critics awards. The only person who's coming close is Baptiste, and Baptiste is on the cusp of even being nominated. Like, she's not going to win. That's something that critics are doing to try to boost her, and also she deserves it, but it's just not something the Oscars are going to do.
I mean, look at this. 82% of people predict Madison's going to win. Angelina Jolie is 6%, and that's just a slowly dying figure. Like that is going to be 0% at some point. She hasn't won anything. She hasn't
Critics
won
don't
anything.
even like the movie.
She's done far worse than Pablo Larraín's other leading ladies.
There's a whole thing about how, well, the passion for Maria is just not there. She might even get snubbed. I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I really just need to caution people that this is the one transformy Oscar bait biopic performance that is even competing for the nomination. Now you can say, oh, well, Fernanda Torres is playing a real person, but like, that's not the transformy, like, oh, she became this person, like, type of thing that Angelina Jolie is doing.
Do you think that she'll get BAFTA?
That's a good question, but Ana de Armas got everything. And that was also being campaigned by Netflix.
As well? You think that she would get SAG?
I think she's going to get SAG. Yeah, they love their biopics, and also Ana de Armas. Also, listen, some people we thought that Annette Bening wasn't happening for Nyad. Cynthia Erivo was not being predicted for Harriet because people thought that Awkwafina was going to sneak in. Javier Bardem was being underestimated for being the Ricardos. There are a lot of examples where people just underestimate the biopic performance because they're not sensing the passion, but like the major groups are nominating that.
That's a good
point. It's firm.
That's a good
point. I would not take Jolie out, although I think she's very far from the win.
Demi Moore is as close as you can get to a lock for the nomination.
So as
long as the substance stays in the game, and right now it's in the game.
And it would be insane if it fell off.
She's gotten like every fucking nomination possible, nearly every nomination possible.
She is being embraced a lot.
You'd have to do some explaining if she wasn't in your top 5.
Demi Moore has like the perfect narrative. The perfect Oscar nomination narrative. Similar to Brendan Fraser in The Whale, and maybe a comeback role like Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere. Like the kind of thing that wins. The reason I don't think that she could win is just the content of the performance. I don't see there being like enough Oscar clips and kind of that kind of thing where it makes sense for her to win. But the narrative is so there.
Now Gascon, I think, is pretty solidly in there. Like I just don't see any signs that she's gonna miss.
Amelia Perez is just going to get all the nominations. How is that going to get 10 nominations and she doesn't come along? Does not compute. Does not compute.
I weirdly have not seen her in as many conversations, like variety, actors on actors. Maybe that's because she doesn't speak English. It's funny because I feel like she doesn't get talked about enough because Amelia Perez is not like a great movie. But the performance that she gives is really good. Cynthia Erivo in Wicked is a force to be reckoned with. She is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. Hard to deny. Critics have been going out for her, nominating her when they don't nominate Wicked.
She's number 4 with critics groups in terms of nominations.
She's going to get a SAG nomination. I think she'll even get a BAFTA nomination.
She's just
probably, and she's just very impressive. Nobody leaves Wicked not talking about Erivo's performance, in addition to Grande's performance.
I mean, the 2 leads is what everyone's talking about. That's the center of the movie. It's not the filmmaker.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So for her to not go along would be kind of insane. I mean, even the Margot Robbie comparison, I think, doesn't quite work. The Margot Robbie Barbie, like, she got nominated everywhere, got snubbed. I actually think that is possible for Cynthia Erivo. But the difference, I think, is that Margot Robbie's role was kind of like, yeah, of course you're Barbie, like, and you're really good in that because you're Margot Robbie, whatever. But Cynthia Erivo was like, you were the perfect choice for this role, like huge emotional musical numbers, like crying and more of this Oscar bait stuff that usually gets you in. The top 5 is so competitive that I actually do think that she could get nominated everywhere, and then the Oscars go, oops, we like Baptiste. Because Baptiste is a fucking force to be reckoned with.
I already said that about Ariwa. You can't say it twice.
Many people are forces to be reckoned with
right.
because we're all special. She did miss Golden Globe, and I was like, oh, it's over. And then, she got Critics' Choice, and I said, we're so back. Imagine maybe Howard Truce gets, like, even screenplay at BAFTA, and maybe even, like, supporting actress as well. Maybe she ends up like Andrew Scott in All of Us Strangers, doesn't quite make it, but the performance is huge. Like, critics are giving her the wins.
When was the last time a performance did this well with critics, but then came short of the Oscar nomination? I mean,
Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, or
Charles
Ethan Hawke in
Melton.
First Reformed. Charles
He's an Oscar
Melton.
in First Reform. I was going to say that too.
So, you know what? That does happen a lot.
It does happen.
It does happen. But the BAFTA nomination is kind of the difference between some of these things that we're talking about. I think that's kind of big. I mean, I know, Bleecker Street could be a minus here. Maybe number 6 is the place to have her, but at the same time, this top 5 where you don't have her looks quite a lot like what we would anticipate the SAG 5 would be. So they're just going to go with SAG, like maybe. But the Oscar thing to do would be to squeeze Baptiste and then shock somebody with what you snub.
I do think the snub at SAG could be Jolie, but I don't think they're going to snub her for Baptiste. That's why I think this is the top 5 for SAG.
Yeah.
If anything, SAG would snub someone for Nicole Kidman and Baby Girl, maybe for an Amy Adams and Night Bitch. But I don't think they would go for Jean-Baptiste. Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun is absolutely toast. She's toasted. She's gone.
goodbye.
I need to sit tight with this 5 and not put in Jean-Baptiste, even though I really want to, I think. I really think Arrivo is probably not Margot Robbie and Barbie. Like, I didn't believe in Margot Robbie and Barbie.
You didn't believe in Arrivo when you saw the movie, like, entirely.
Yeah, I felt like she was maybe a little more internal and that was going to hurt her, but I don't really feel that way anymore.
I have Kidman at 7. A lot of people were like, how could you not have Kidman? She's Nicole Kidman. She's giving one of her best performances. And I agree that she is.
She absolutely is.
But Critics' Choice miss, you have to now concede that she's very vulnerable. SAG likes Nicole Kidman.
Yep.
They could potentially throw her in and she becomes, back in the race, or maybe BAFTA even goes for her. Like, she could be thrown back into the race. There's potential.
Yep.
And the Critics' Choice miss is a weird fluke. But there is just such competition in terms of these, best picture leading ladies.
Baby Girl is also not a slam dunk movie for awards voters. Like, it's the kind of film that people might dismiss. It's a very good movie.
Well, maybe people also feel like Nicole Kidman's been recognized a lot before.
I think, again, it's a lot about, like, is it your time? Yes, it's one of your best performances, Nicole Kidman, but, I'm sorry, my hands are tied. I have to nominate Cynthia Erivo and Carlos Sofia Gascon. And Fernanda Torres, I'm kind of surprised that she has not been doing as well as I thought. I had a feeling that she was going to be singled out by critics and they're trying to get people to consider her to put that movie on the radar. And they haven't, really.
She might win the Golden Globe, though.
That's possible.
Even if she did, I would kind of wonder if that's even enough.
I still think
to put her
Jolie's
back
going to
in.
win the Golden Globe. I don't think it's going to happen for the Oscar. I think the film that they would do that's a little unexpected is Baptiste, Hard Truths. Amy Adams for Night Bitch. Look, that could rebound at SAG, but I just see it coming up short for the Oscar.
What do you think about Kate Winslet? She got the Golden Globe, but like so did freaking, Tilda Swinton for Room Next Door. There was no competition there.
I think it's not necessary. Like, it's just very
So here's the thing.
unnecessary.
People are like, oh, this is Andrea Riseborough because of the type of groundswell push or the Frances Fisher thing, but the difference is that Kate Winslet is not an underdog. Andrea Riseborough, that was happening also like right at the time of voting. Maybe Kate Winslet can get BAFTA because people did watch this movie like in the UK and stuff. And again, we said with the Golden Globes that international voters actually know this movie and they saw it.
Yeah, it did pretty well in the UK. And it's about a British journalist. I'm just saying
Come
no,
on.
too. I don't even think she's going to get nominated for the BAFTA.
I have her at number 8, though.
The movie's mid. Like, it's mid in every sense. I mean, the performance is the only thing that I would say is not. It's a very good performance. Pamela Anderson for Last Showgirl is a contender, but, like, it's too far down. Ronan, like we said, Ronan's actually done. To not get Golden Globe and not get Critics' Choice, goodbye.
Swinton's also done. Best Actor. Are we scared that Timmy could beat Adrian Brody now that we think that Complete Unknown's getting Best Picture? I mean, look.
That's a good point.
Right
We do
now,
think it's getting Best Picture.
it seems like, Brody's doing really well. And he's winning awards from critics.
Here's the thing. A lot of the acting toss-ups, when it's looked close at the Oscars, it's gone to the film that they like better. That's like in the top 3 for Best Picture. And if I applied it to last year, maybe I'd have predicted that Emma Stone would win and not Lily Gladstone.
That wasn't true about Brendan Fraser, though.
You're right. It wasn't true about Brendan Fraser.
It's probably more of an Oscar bait performance, too.
Here's why I think it's Brody, in addition to The Brutalist, is closer to winning Best Film. Adrian Brody has a great narrative. He disappeared for many people From acting, and when he goes around, he's very charismatic. He talks about how he did not find the work that he expected to find, and that this film is a rebound for him. And when you see him in the film, it's like fucking amazing. Like, the work is just incredible. He eats up the screen. He embodies like the immigrant experience. That's the journey that his character has to go through. And he also has like a personal backstory and a connection point to the character, I think through his parents. The main reason, just to be honest, is I'm sticking with my guns here, because when I saw that film, I was floored. And I said, I refuse to let anyone tell me that this is not going to win the Oscar. And if you think that makes me biased, you may be correct. Maybe I have a blind spot for Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown, but I'll acknowledge that he is very close for A Complete Unknown.
Hey, who cries more?
Brody.
Yep.
And Timothy...
You're just kind of playing down here. Cynthia's I'm doing my thing. It's my thing.
It's a really impressive performance, though. Like, he also
did exceed
eats up the screen. He is excellent here. If he won, it would be a worthy performance. I think it's the peak of his talents in a sense. Like, it really is the best performance he's had since Call Me By Your Name. If you want to say this is the more Beatty performance because it's a musical film, I don't disagree, but also Adrian Brody's performance with the comeback narrative and just being like the lead of a huge Best Picture film, I think that's an excellent and very like up the alley Oscar-winning performance as well.
They're close. He also disappears into the character. It's like Kate Blanchett in Tar level shit, I think.
Even if Timothy wins SAG,
as long as
think
Brody
he would win
wins
Critics' Choice.
As long as Brody wins BAFTA. As long as Timmy's not winning Critics' Choice, Coleman Domingo is more likely to win Critics' Choice.
And who's gonna win BAFTA? It's going to be Brody.
Coleman Domingo's doing well. He's doing fine. He could maybe sneak attack Critics' Choice, but I don't think he's going to win the Oscar. He'll be nominated. The Golden Globes showed that. Even if you fucking hate Sing Sing and you're a little bitch, he'll still nominate Coleman Domingo. Ray Fiennes, some have him in the winning conversation. I don't think that's happening. I know that he's overdue, but like, again, Adrian Brody, oh, he has an Oscar. Timothée Chalamet, oh, he doesn't have one yet. Ray Fiennes doesn't have one yet. This has been debunked so many times that you need to chill. Ray Fiennes' performance is just far too subtle to win an Academy Award.
I don't think it's far too subtle. It's just more subtle than the other ones.
It's far too subtle.
Okay.
It's it's like when people were like, oh, maybe Colin Farrell will win for Banshees. Like that was never going to happen.
Find me any sample size of any group of people and show them those two films, Brutalist, Conclave, and then which of those sample sizes is going to vote for Fiennes over Brody?
Well,
like,
Fiennes has one win, I think.
It's just like 9 times out of 10 it feels like they would choose the bigger performance.
All right, so now it's time for number 5. I think the easy choice here is Daniel Craig. He's been nominated at Critics' Choice Golden Globe. He'll probably remain at BAFTA, and he'll get snubbed at SAG.
Yeah, now, and he's campaigning.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of goodwill for him.
The movie's a little unpopular, but the performance is big. Like, he's doing a lot, and he's amazing in it.
I also think enough people understand Queer that it's going to be okay.
The narrative for Craig, I think that goodwill, that sense that maybe beginning of the year that this would be a performance that really stretches him as an actor, finally is his Academy moment. And I think we're still hanging on to that, even though the movie, many people are just like, what the hell? The question is, can someone take him over at SAG? And can that person really give him a run for the money at the Oscar? Now, I would say if Kingsley Ben-Adir or Glenn Powell for Hitman got nominated at SAG, I would say, okay, and I would not care. I think that
unless Craig missed BAFTA, then I'd be concerned. But I don't think he's going to miss BAFTA.
So I think that Hugh Grant is number 6. Listen to me.
No, you're actually
First of all, critics groups have him in this position as well. He might get BAFTA because he's Hugh fucking Grant. He's Hugh fucking Grant. And he might get SAG. That wouldn't be that hard. And he's done this before. He actually got nominated everywhere for Florence Foster Jenkins, and he did not get the Oscar nomination. So it would happen to happen twice. If that happens again.
Such different movies. Like, how could you even?
Here's the thing. Everywhere has 6 nominees now. If Hugh Grant got into SAG and BAFTA, I would still predict Daniel Craig as long as Craig is BAFTA. Hugh Grant is still like a horror performance, you know?
Yep.
Still a horror performance at the end of the day for a movie that's just not going
It's not
anywhere.
like transcending. You know, I don't even think people think it's a great movie.
Sebastian Stan and The Apprentice is still possible. Now, I know, and I've seen that critics are ignoring that movie. They don't care. And the industry might be ignoring that movie actually a lot too, which is the biggest problem. I think international voters, I think, might care a little bit more. And the Golden Globes may have shown that. They even nominated Strong. So honestly, if the BAFTA nominates Sebastian Stan or Jeremy Strong or both, That would be, I think that's actually their best shot is BAFTA. If you got SAG, that'd be a big deal though, because that would show that there's like
that would be a big deal because I don't expect that.
It made the makeup long list.
I think this is going to be the 5. I think Daniel Craig still has a really good narrative. I think you could name check him without even seeing the movie.
I think Jesse Eisenberg was a thing that people were like, is that going to happen?
Because of Astra.
It's not going to
Only because of Astra, though. Kingsley Ben-Adir, is that going to show up anywhere? I think it could maybe get that fifth slot at SAG and surprise us all.
And that'd be it.
That's not unprecedented at all. Like that's happened many times. But if you only pop up at SAG and nowhere else, you don't really get the Oscar. Like, when has that happened?
Excellent point. I've even made a lot of charts where you got to notice that alone SAG is not worth shit. Supporting actress, we've been saying Ariana Grande, to each other for the past couple weeks now, but I want to put Zoe Saldana kind of back in the conversation for a bit. So you look at critics wins, Ariana Grande has the most, but we know that Emilia Perez is underperforming with critics groups, and that's not going to reflect at the Oscars and BAFTA. Now what I'll say is that when you look at the Globes and you say Wicked 3 noms, Emilia Perez 10 noms, gee, I wonder which one they like more. Yeah, maybe that would be the factor in terms of which musical actress wins, which movie they like more. And so I would probably say that Saldana has the better shot at the Globes.
I don't really know which one has the better shot, but I would agree and lean that way. My feeling about Ariana Grande's performance overall is that it's good enough to be a sweeper. And the character is more memorable. It's also more fun. The performance is kind of eye candy. It's very eye-catching. It's very entertaining. And she's had no problem getting like critics and maybe some more highbrow people on her side. Saldana has a better career narrative in that she's just more of a name in film, of course. She's also older and that helps. But that character also is not as memorable. I think that character is kind of one of the problems of the film, their underdevelopment and their lack of sort of an arc and how they kind of fizzle out in the end. It ends up like they kind of sideline themselves for the main story, which is Emilia Perez's story. It is a kind of a showy performance and it is a lead as well. They're both really close. Like they're both the supporting actress in a musical. And that's some well-trodden territory to win supporting actress for a musical. And this year where we have 2 musicals in Best Picture, it's funny that both of the supporting actresses are also competing in those musicals.
If Saldana won BAFTA and Globe, but Ariana Grande won Critics' Choice SAG, what would you do? What it would show would be a split between, the United States loves Wicked, International loves Emilia Perez. You might actually want to lean home turf on that.
Yeah, I would probably lean Grande. I feel like BAFTA could also go in a completely different direction. They probably will like Emilia Perez a lot, but I could see them giving Felicity Jones the award in a weird way.
Yeah, sometimes this
even
happens,
though she's not doing well.
Sometimes the BAFTA goes rogue and gives it to a British actor. But a lot of times we think this is going to happen and it doesn't. Yeah. Like with Austin Butler and Elvis, like he beat Colin Farrell and Banshees.
Let me also tell you, Ariana DeBose in West Side Story, that film got 3 nominations at BAFTA. It underperformed to an extreme degree and she still won.
Felicity Jones has been absolutely underperforming with critics groups and they're demolishing her. They didn't even nominate her at Critics' Choice. I don't know what to do with this other than say that I think she's vulnerable for SAG and that she'll get BAFTA and that I just trust that, like, because the performance is doing all that and makes sense and it's in a huge movie, it's in a top 3 movie, I just trust that she'll make it in and the Oscars will do what they need to do.
I wonder if when it comes out, people will start trying to throw her in the conversation more seriously. And I wonder if part of the reason she hasn't showed up is because of a lack of buzz around the performance.
Well, people are just screaming about the 2 boys. Yeah. I think she deserves to be screamed at least as loud as Guy Pearce. I don't understand it, but
I think the movie owes a lot to that performance. I still think it's gonna get in, but it's weird that it didn't get Critics' Choice.
I mean, I hope I can just say, like, forget the critics on this one, but and then I got Rossellini in. Look, Rossellini, when we saw the movie, we said, she doesn't have enough screen time, guys. She has Golden Globe and Critics' Choice. And people appreciate it. Like, it's a true supporting performance. We want more from her, but she brings a lot to the character.
And they like her. I think that's important that they like her.
Yes, they like Rossellini. It'll be her first nomination. She's like a veteran, and there's a lot going in her favor.
I think it's like the impression you have after you see the film. Like, forget the number of minutes. Like, that doesn't really matter. It matters the impression that performer left on you and the impact they made on the film. So you can have 5 minutes like Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans, or 7 minutes, and you can leave the film, and that's like one of the main things you think about. And it is true that with Conclave, one of the main things that sticks with you is her performance and her character as well. Like there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of information that is kept from the audience that has to do with the nuns, and she like holds it very skillfully. Even just little things with how she sets the table in that one quick shot, there's like a lot going on there, and I really like, I actually want this to happen now, because
I kind of support it, because
no,
she's
I don't
actually
kind of
that good.
support it, I really support it. Like I think this is good for the Oscars to nominate something small like this, because these are really important performances. And just because you're not allotted more screen time doesn't mean that you didn't, do an excellent job. You didn't have an amazing amount of prep. She might have everything including SAG, but she might have everything except for SAG. And either way, she's going to look great going into...
Yeah, I agree. And the Oscars are probably more likely to nominate these lower screen time performances than some other awards bodies. And so the fact that she already has 2 of the major precursors, like... as long as she gets BAFTA, I'm kind of sold. Also, she's been campaigning. Tucci has not been campaigning, but she's going around. Margaret Qualley has been doing very well for The Substance and could be on track to get all 4 major precursors. It's not that hard to imagine SAG. BAFTA, 6 slots. She might make it in. I feel like BAFTA will like The Substance. It's also a British movie. British co-production, that is. When I first envisioned, like, you can look at the whiteboard over there when we did the members video where we were like whiteboarding out what The Substance would get if it was nominated. We don't have supporting actress on the board. It didn't make sense to me for her to come along. I guess I kind of see it now. Margaret Qualley has really earned her place as one of like the best actresses in her like age group, I guess you could say. And it's not that surprising that if her movie's coming along, people want to bring her along for the ride.
I think it's just a part of the passion for The Substance. I didn't see it coming. So if you called it and you want to tell me that you told me so, that's good job. Part of me wonders if it's like Mila Kunis in Black Swan, though.
I feel like it could still miss, though. Although if she got everything, I would probably have my hands
Like, she's also
tied.
been doing really well with critics. Like, she's a staple of the category. A staple.
Honestly, if she gets everything, my hands are tied. Right?
Yes.
Right? Maybe I want to say Ingenue Ellis Taylor and Nickel Boys. Listen to me, motherfuck. Sometimes all you need is a Critics' Choice nomination. I don't think she's getting SAG. I don't think she's getting BAFTA. America Ferrera did it. Brian Tyree Henry did it for Causeway. J.K. Simmons did it for Being the Ricardos. And in fact, it happens every single year. There's like just one person who's just Critics' Choice and they make it in. And Ingenue Ellis Taylor is like the candidate for that this year. And she's also in a Best Picture movie. She's amazing in it. She's like completely melts the audience with her eyes. She's campaigning. They're advertising her. Have you seen the latest trailer? And how she's like the protagonist of the trailer?
Well, they should put her in because everyone else is kind of a fresh face in that movie.
I know, but the fact that she's such a big part of like what Nickel Boy's whole like thing is, whole campaign, like I think she makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't dismiss her making it into the Oscars. And like the Oscars, again, we think they're gonna like Nickel Boys a decent amount.
My concern here is that even when Nickel Boys is doing well, like even when it wins directing at an awards body, gets nominated for best film, she's not always included. Like, what's up with that? Also, her performance being in POV is gonna be a little bit awkward for some people, even though I think it was just so well done. I'm worried about her. I really want that to happen, and that's why I'm worried. Like, I think the safe thing to do would be to say Margaret Qualley's number 5. Or you can even go for fucking Daniel Deadwyler. It's crazy.
No, you can't.
Really?
I'm sorry, man. Like, that movie is off the map.
Yikes. It's sad because Deadwyler in The Piano Lesson was absolutely excellent. Like, she was on fire in that movie.
I still think she probably would get SAG.
That's a big nomination, though.
Okay, she got it for Till as well. Also, they like the August Wilson stuff. But her missing at the end of the day for this movie that's just not getting attention outside of her, I don't think it's going to happen. Safer to go with Selling in Best Picture, man.
I think that is the top 7. And I don't think Selena Gomez is going to get nominated for Amelia Perez. She might be number 5 for SAG.
She might get into SAG, but I don't care. I don't think she's quite good enough.
If BAFTA nominates her, I might take it back, though.
I can't decide between Ingenue Ellis and Margaret Qualley. I mean,
like, I could see Nickel Boys happening and not Ingenue Ellis.
I guess so.
It's kind of like
you're kinda
it's
right.
kind of like Dolly De Leon in Triangle of Sadness. It was number 6 for that category, but it just couldn't make it. But maybe Triangle still prevailed.
Maybe Sandra Hüller for Zone of Interest. She
Yeah.
either. Fine, I'll put Ingenue out. put Margaret Qualley in. Signs are pointing towards Margaret Qualley being part of the substance package. Monica Barbaro, Complete Unknown, not really taking off, not getting a ton of nominations. Natasha Lyonne's pretty much R.I.P. Saoirse Ronan Blitz is absolutely R.I.P. Michelle Austin Hard-Truth maybe gets BAFTA. It wouldn't really change my mind.
That'd be like a pretty shocker nomination if she continued to the Oscar.
Supporting actor, I am skeptical about Kieran Culkin winning just because the movie may not get Best Picture.
Yeah.
But man, the performance it's big, it's a lead,
And he's very much out there doing publicity. I feel like I just can't get enough of him. I just see him everywhere on the Variety.
He's pretty amazing in it. And
He is going to win getting to the Actors Roundtables.
Probably going to win SAG.
He's a lead. He's sweeping the awards right now, is he not?
Pretty much. I mean, Guy Pearce has a few. He's not doing a sweep that's on the level of what Ke Huy Quan did or what Divine Joey Randolph did, but he's winning a lot of awards. Maybe Guy Pearce surprises, but at the same time, I don't think that Guy Pearce and Adrian Brody are going to win for Brutalist, and that movie's not going to win Best Picture. Yuri Borisov's number 3 for me. That guy is coming along. He's happening. People understand it. They're now watching the movie. They're watching him. They're going, yep. I don't know why, it felt so hard to see at Cannes. I mean, I agree that when I first saw the movie, I was like, no. And I thought that Mark Edelstein was a standout supporting male performance for me.
I think people just made it happen in a grassroots way. Like they were calling him out, and then people went into the film expecting more from him. And I think when you watch the performance, like you were saying, he really comes alive. Like there's a lot going on there, and I'm really happy about this because after my second viewing, I was just absolutely sold that he deserves a nomination for this.
Yeah, I agree. He deserves it.
The weird thing also is that there are so many standouts in Anora that somehow they had the campaign centered around him. Like they picked the right candidate, and they're not really canceling each other out.
You know what it is? It's that he's the heart. The ending, the last whole 20 minutes is
he's
so much of him.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, and it's happening, and it's happened at Critics' Choice and Golden Globes.
Yeah.
He even won
what
a couple
a great
Critics
nomination,
groups.
too.
He even won a couple Critics groups.
Amazing that people are paying attention to it, and it just, again, I think it shows the strength of Anora. Because
Yeah, it makes sense that there's another nomination coming along with the package. It just I feel like that had to give. Then we have Clarence Macklin and Sing Sing, who missed the fucking Golden Globe nomination.
which was bad.
And he better damn get SAG, or I'm scared as shit.
Yeah.
And I'm also worried about BAFTA. But a SAG is what matters the most.
No, if
for
he
him.
doesn't get SAG, it's over. I think he will get SAG. I am leaning that direction, but I'm fucking scared about it.
I mean, here's the thing that's scary about SAG is that you have 6 people who are very strong. Denzel and Norton included. Borisov included.
Yep.
Are you going to say Borisov misses SAG? You going to say he's the one?
I would say maybe he misses SAG.
I think that it might be hard for SAG to nominate 2 newcomers. And then Edward Norton, he's doing really well so far. He's getting the main nominations. It's not like he's sweeping critics. It's not like he's getting boatloads of critics noms, but the fact that he's making it into Golden Globe Critics' Choice is what matters here.
Those final slots are duking it out. Someone could get snubbed who feels like they're kind of in the number 3 or 4 slot.
I mean, at the end of the day, don't you think Edward Norton makes just sense to come along with Complete Unknown? Complete Unknown's really going to get actor and sound and picture?
I came around to your perspective on this, which is that Denzel Washington is in the film that's not in Best Picture, and therefore I will predict that he won't get nominated.
It's actually kind of fucked and kind of weird because if he gets Golden Globe Critics' Choice SAG, which is going to happen, it's very weird for him not to get the Oscar. BAFTA, you can forget it because he's not getting BAFTA because they hate him, they never nominate him. I just think that him not being in the Best Picture, it's inherently less secure. But him being Denzel Washington is the type of that's how you overcome something like that. Mm-hmm. Where you're on the caliber of actor that you just get in no matter what. So that's where he could just get in, and it wouldn't even be weird, and he was deserving.
But maybe it's just like Gladiator itself, and the hype around Gladiator has kind of faded, it's muted.
People don't view it as an awards contender.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing that people thought was going to happen for some reason.
I think they look at Washington differently, they view that as a contending performance, but
maybe in the same vein as Viola Davis and The Woman King, my friend. She got nominated everywhere, and it did not happen. That's the 6. Jeremy Strong I have at number 7. That would also be very deserving, but people are probably ignoring The Apprentice.
Yeah, they're going to ignore The Apprentice at the Oscars.
Tucci, where's he been? Someone give him a call.
Nowhere.
He's not picking up.
No.
He's nowhere. Brian Tyree Henry hasn't gotten shit.
Yeah.
But, it'd be cool if SAG gave him a rebound because he deserves that.
And by the way, The Fire Inside is a very good movie. I recommend that. Good movie to see with the family over the holidays.
So is Baby Girl and Nosferatu, though. Adam Pearson, that was never going to be more than a critics thing. And then the September 5 boys, where are you? You're not showing up anywhere. literally anywhere. So goodbye. To the screenplay categories: original, Anora winning, Brutalist, number 2. Some critics groups have given Brutalist screenplay. I respect it. I appreciate it. It's deserved. A Real Pain, solidly in there. Very solidly in there. And The Substance. That is your top 4 with critics groups. Even if The Substance wasn't nominated for Best Picture at this point, I think screenplay would probably still happen. Like,
Yeah, weirdly-
that's a
weirdly.
really, really solid prospect.
Yeah.
People say that's an original film. It's an original vision. You don't really have many other Best Picture contenders here. Number 5 is September 5. That movie got Critics' Choice Screenplay, got the Golden Globe Drama Picture. It just makes the most sense. It makes the most sense, and nothing else makes it more sense. Challengers, unfortunately, that might just get score or drop off entirely.
Yep.
And Sacred Fig, you know, it's possible that they go like, you know, we really want to give Rasulov something, but it's just
That's a hard one
It's just
to
not looking as
justify.
likely. Hard Truths, Mike Lee. It's a possibility.
I think it could get BAFTA, but
I think it's going to get BAFTA.
I think
here.
September 5 and Challengers are just more likely than that film. And I do think September 5 is the most likely. I think it has the best shot at getting into Best Picture. It has a better shot than Challengers does.
It also feels like Margin Call or the Ides of March
Yeah.
type of nomination.
I would love if Challengers got in here. Like, I think it kind of sucks that it doesn't look like it's going to get in, but
It's funny that
That's my
Challengers
prediction.
and September 5 are both kind of competing in screenplay and editing.
Yeah.
And Challengers is possibly in editing, but not
Maybe.
picture thing, but that's probably just critics doing that.
oh, I think BAFTA's going to do it too.
Challengers and editing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They're really cool in editing.
Saturday Night is done. I'm deleting it.
Saturday Night Missing Score shortlist. It's over. It's
Oh,
over.
yeah. I forgot
that
about
that alone, it's gone for everything. It's not being considered in any categories remotely. Done. Goodbye. That was like the most likely nomination it could have gotten.
A Different Man would be cool, but I deleted it because,
Yeah.
it's not happening. I actually put in All We Imagine Is Light at number 9.
Fine.
Can we do that?
That's fine.
At number 9? Okay. An adapted screenplay. Conclave, the red carpet. The Conclave red carpet is rolled out for this movie to win adapted screenplay pretty damn easily. Then you have Sing Sing and Nickel Boys, which I think will be pretty solid.
I think Sing Sing could miss because it could miss Best Picture. There is a possibility that it could underperform. And it's just not a necessary nomination for it. Like, I did move it down, I think, to number 4.
Oof. Number
Yeah, I know.
4.
No, I know.
Do you have Amelia Perez?
Also,
at
no one
number
talks
3?
about Sing Sing as like a writing movie. Oh, damn, I actually moved it down to number 5. Oh,
Well, I
oopsie.
don't care what you did.
Oh, whoops, oops. No, I seriously think it, like,
I think your finger slipped a little bit.
wait. Tell me. What's more likely to get nominated for Best Picture?
It doesn't matter.
It kind of matters.
Not always, buddy. Sometimes Best Picture things don't get in, and it's because they don't make sense for screenplay. Bohemian Rhapsody did not get nominated for screenplay. Music biopics don't happen. Musicals don't happen. I might be predicting 2 musicals in this category, but it's really unusual. I just need you to know that it's super damn unusual. I think Amelia Perez is going to get in. The Golden Globe nomination for screenplay is too convincing. Too convincing.
Yeah.
And they're going to nominate the shit out of that movie, probably. Most
I feel
likely.
like that movie, too, is perceived differently than stage musicals.
Yes.
It's perceived as like an
Yes.
original screenplay. So I do think that Amelia Perez is going to get in. Wicked, I have a sense that it's going to work. And the reason is
Is it that it's going to win WGA?
probably it might win WGA.
Also,
yes.
I want to say a lot of people do not see that coming.
Oh, okay.
They don't think
All
that's happening.
Let's lay it out for you. So here are the contenders for WGA. This is just real quick. We're just gonna go through this. We gotta tell everybody. Adapted screenplay at WGA. You're looking at a lot of snubs here because Conclave and Sing Sing are not eligible. Neither is Amelia Perez. So you have Wicked, Nickel Boys, Dune Part 2, A Complete Unknown, and the 5 slot is up to you to run free with. That is your imagination. Your imagination, you can let that run free because I don't know what the fuck's going to happen for that 5th slot.
Might
But
be
we're just going to
fucking
focus on the
nightmarish.
fact that it's between Wicked, Nickel Boys, and Dune for the win. Which one's going to win? Which movie's
A
going to
lot of
win?
people think,
Wicked is going to win WGA.
A lot of people think it's Nickel Boys and Dune. It's not.
I just don't think so.
I would be shocked if a guild went for Nickel Boys because they're normie. I think Wicked, it's just the movie they like the best by far.
They like feel-good movies as well.
Wicked could still get snubbed though. I just want to warn you that like that could always get snubbed at the end of the day. Even
Yes.
if WGA loves it.
Yes.
BAFTA might not nominate Wicked, and then it'll be like, oh, well, yeah, that's because it's not getting
I'm just trying to warn people what's going on with that. You know what? It doesn't need to get in here because it's not like we don't have other films. We have Dune Part 2, which could easily get a nomination here.
But what's wrong? What's going wrong?
what's wrong with Dune?
I feel like something's got to give with Dune, And this is a category
There's a
where
lot of- it's
might
already giving a
give.
director.
It might give.
It's already giving a director.
That is not even something I got in the first movie. I'm saying it might give in screenplay. You
Right.
know what campaign for a musical didn't work in screenplay? West Side Story. Did not work. They tried it. It was Tony fucking Kushner. Did not work.
No, it's
Now,
true. And,
where-
and again, I think the BAFTA is not going to nominate Wicked in screenplay, and that's going to look not great going into the Oscar.
Oh, buddy, when BAFTA said like no to Barbie and all in like editing and,
Yeah.
and director, it was like, yep, and then it didn't happen. Okay, so when
Yeah.
BAFTA says no to Wicked, you need to be worried, especially depending on what they say yes to, because they might say yes to Dune, and then you're going to be like, oh, well, that makes
I mean,
more
look,
sense.
well, no, that's they're going to do that. What you just said, they're going to do that. Look, I think
Wicked,
Wicked
if
is closer
Wicked's
to
a
best
top
film.
3, then it's going to get nominated. Let me just
That's
I'll
what
just say that.
that's my main argument is I think Wicked is top. It might be top 3. And if it is top 3, it's like Top Gun Maverick, it's like 1917, even Joker. It's like all the films that people said weren't going to get screenplay ended up getting screenplay because they just loved them so much, so much.
All right, I'll go with you on this one.
And I know there's like a stat about Broadway musicals not getting screenplay nominations. And yes, it makes sense because like that's substantial. West Side Story not getting a nomination for screenplay was substantial. But I don't think that film was quite as beloved in general. It wasn't as close to like a Best Picture winning conversation.
Neither was
as
Les
Wicked.
Mis. That was probably like number 6.
Yeah. So look, that's not like a stat that can't break. Like people get a little too locked into like, oh, I can see how like this correlation between this like small group of 3 or 4 movies. It's 3 or 4 movies that you can paint this stat with. It's not like a whole lot.
Do you think that A Complete Unknown could break the musical biopic not getting nominated stat? I mean, I guess Maestro
I don't
happened.
think the screenplay is notable in the movie.
You're right. No one gives a shit. I don't really think there's that much room for outside shots here. The Room Next Door is fucked and done. I'm Still Here is not a real thing. I know some people think that's possible, but I think you just like the movie.
Night Bitch could weirdly pop up at WGA.
That wouldn't matter. That would be like Naiad. Hitman's not real. Wild Robot's not real. Everything else is fake. And so that's the rest of the Above the Line Oscar predictions. Stay tuned for Below the Line. If you like the videos, become a member, why don't you? You get bonus content, bonus videos. Recently, we did a couple updates on how the critics groups were doing. 'Cause I got a whole tally going on, and I was showing you the tally. We do quick updates on like, you know, guilds and what they're doing, like the Makeup Guild. $2 a month gets you bonus videos and supports the channel.
And as always, you can make your predictions on Award Expert. The app's just getting better and better, folks. So now's the time to join. It's free to use, and I'm paying money to let you use it. But there will be a pro tier that you can choose to support in the near future.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Do you believe me that Wicked could get screenplay?